Good morning and welcome to the Bucket List Show. I'm Tammy Crandell with Journey Venture Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I'm here with my co-host, Rebecca Danise, with Real Estate Services through Barron Real Estate as well.
Absolutely.
The intention of our show, the Bucket List Show, is to serve you so we can help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And what that really means for you and us today is providing you with great content or information that keeps you up to date, whether it has to do with home information or travel information. We're going to get that information out to you so that way you are informed.
And you can fill your bucket.
Yes.
And, be engaged. That's the part that we all forget about.
Absolutely.
We do the business stuff, but we forget personally, to go out and complete that bucket list.
Right. So really what's at the top of a lot of people's list today, there's a lot of crazy things going on in the market, in regards to interest rates. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Yeah. And of course, our expert in the room is Rebecca.
Don't push that.
So we are going to talk about rates and things that could be an advantage for you. So there's a lot of talk about fixed rates versus adjustable rate mortgages. So what is the advantage? I mean, what are we looking at today? What's going on in the market?
So, rates are up. So the Fed has increased the rates. We all know that. On average today, a 30-year fixed is just over 7%. If you look back a year ago, we're probably 2% higher on average. But there's other buckets that you can fill. You could get a 15-year, a 30-year fixed, a 20-year, and then you are now seeing the ARM products out. So what you can do is you don't necessarily need to do a 30-year fixed. If you could afford it, you could do a 20-year fixed, and that rate is 5 1/8. So that's a big difference, and then it's going to correlate to your payments, but obviously instead of 360 months, you're now 240 months. So it becomes a numbers game.
It does.
So it's definitely a time to buy. The market is still viable here and all over the country. There's pockets of certain things, but in Florida, 1,000 people on estimate are moving here.
Yeah, every day.
And that makes a difference. But, when you go to look to buy, you want to build your team. You want your realtor, you want your banker, you want your title company. But it's so important on the banking side to understand the numbers. So you want them to compare and say, well, if I did a 30-year at 7 and change, and maybe I go to a 20-year, it's 5 1/8. Where's that payment and what can it do for me?
Right.
The other advantage in this market is you want to make sure that you could always make a prepayment payment. So for example, if you had a 30-year fixed and you made one extra principal payment a year and you did nothing else, you're probably now at 23 years estimated. But it's a number game on your overall finance charge. That's the piece that you want. What I'll do is I'm going to add stuff to our YouTube and our Facebook channels, and I'll show you some comparison numbers so you can at least see what I'm talking about.
Well, and that really brings up, caveat that what I call the elephant in the video, in a sense. And that is, when we start talking these numbers and the amount of time that you're going to put into a mortgage, it's really hard for people to make a determination what's going to be the best thing for me. So really, what does that translate? And really specifically, you talked about building a team. So I'm sure if I were sitting in their chair, that question for me would be, so why do I have to have a team? Can't I do this myself? Or can't I do this on the web? Why is it important to have a team?
Yeah, so, for me, I wouldn't make your biggest transaction a financial transaction on the web. We know all those platforms are out there. Tammy and I were both bankers for over 30 years. You want to be able to sit with your banker. You want to ask them for the good faith estimate on every scenario. That's the only way you could compare apples to apples. It's like buying a pair of shoes. You go to Macy's, the same pair of shoes is $100. If you go to, Carnival shoes, maybe it's, $50. You got to shop. You got to compare.
Exactly.
Not run your credit every time. Ask them to give you a good faith estimate, and those are the kind of numbers that I'll show you.
And when you talk about building a team, let's talk about who makes up that team.
Right. So, before you do anything, you want to get your realtor on board. The first thing the realtor is going to do is she's going to guide you, or he is going to guide you to get your pre-approval, and they're going to have a solid source to refer you to. You certainly could go to your own local bank and get the information, but your first step would be your realtor. They're going to guide you to get your pre-approval, and that's with your bank. The idea that you need the pre-approval is so when you find a home that you could afford, you could place an offer. You don't want to be disappointed and go see a home for $400,000 when maybe your level's $300,000. And a pre-approval from a bank's perspective, they don't include your cell phone. They don't include how much you want to invest for your retirement. They don't include certain expenses, so they don't see the whole pie. You know what you could afford, but it's got to be drilled down to a comfort level.
Right, so we're looking at partners at this point where we've listed your realtor, you've listed your banker. What are some other partners involved in that process?
After that point, you want a good home inspector. You're going to need a title company. Florida's a title state, so you would need a title company, and they're going to be the one to close it and pull it all together for you.
And that's different here in Florida. You know, I know if you're coming from the Northeast, a lot of closing transactions require an attorney at closing. Here within the state of Florida, it doesn't work that way. Your realtor and your title company really collectively are your team on that level.
That's your team.
They're your legal team.
For the legality of it. Connecticut is an attorney state. New York is a title state. Florida's a title state, so it varies, but we're mostly seeing people from the north come here, but that is your team and they work for you, and that's the misconception. But in the beginning, it's key to start with your pre-approval, understand your numbers and your realtor. And I think, for Tammy and I, because we have that background, that gives us the advantage. So you're put in a good place. I mean, if we go back to the fundamentals of the show, the idea is that we really want to serve you to have your abundant life, and your home is one of that. And it could be, maybe it's a second home, maybe it's a vacation home, but that's where we'll be able to guide you through it.
And we've even talked about these things on an investment level. I mean, we are fortunate to live in a state that not only can you buy the home that you live in here and get your homestead exemptions, you can get a secondary home or a vacation home within another area of the state. We've got a lot of vacation pockets throughout the state of Florida, so that's one of those. Or you could even, buy a secondary home that's on the water. Maybe in a condo situation where you have the ability to now lease or rent that out to seasonal people who are coming to visit who may eventually end up residents here, right?
Absolutely. And that's going to give you that passive income. And that makes a difference if you're going to invest that way as well. I mean, we have even people now. So, if the coast is getting busy and maybe you're not a water piece of, people are going out west and they're buying this land in Okeechobee and they're having their little mini farms and their gardens and their horseback riding. So, Florida is not just beach. So there's other areas that people tie to for fishing and the rivers and Lake Okeechobee.
And then for those of you who are investors out there, if you've got pockets of land in this area, that is owning dirt is an amazing thing, right?
And that's what
really
we're all
one
doing.
of the best investments you have,
really,
right?
We're buying a piece of the earth.
So those are still in demand. I mean, we, at Barron, we, still have a demand from some of these builders that are still looking for pockets of land to put some spec homes on. So if you've got something that that you have, there's a need for that out there, certainly reach out to us. We'll be glad to put you in touch with the right people.
Yeah, and even if it comes back to property management, that's something we could offer. I just want to scoop back to rates. So now, because the way the market is, you're starting to see the ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, starting to play in. You want to be very careful on an adjustable rate mortgage. Number one, you want to see how long you're going to live there. You don't want to get an adjustable rate mortgage for 5 years and you think you're going to stay 10, because on that year 7, you're going to have a change. We don't know what the market will be like in year 7. So we're going to take the margin and the index, but we don't know the future. The other thing is you want to compare. Today, on average, the 10-to-1 ARM is 6.78. So that's fixed for 10 years, and then it becomes a 1-year adjustable. That's not, advantageous enough to go maybe a 20 years, 5 1/8, and then the 30-year is 7.1.
Right.
So again, it's looking at the numbers. You want to make sure you're put in a good place now to continue your home ownership.
Absolutely.
In this market, unfortunately, we are seeing foreclosures and short sales. in little pockets of the country. Hopefully that won't be an enormous amount. We're certainly nowhere near where we were in 2008. So that's kind of typical that we would see it. But you want to be placed in a position that, you're in a successful position.
Well, and really here on the Treasure Coast, we're really at an advantage, simply because we have got properties and land available that areas of the state just don't have it.
Right.
And we're a growing community here. So there's still that advantage of getting into a property at a pretty competitive price between buyer and seller, and then being able to grow that equity that you have and take that equity and reinvest it in something else if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, and there's definitely, a lot of pockets that are out there. So I think, and again, if you're relocation, if you work for a company, maybe Amazon or some of the bigger companies that we're now seeing, especially in the Port St. Lucie area, I mean, relocation still happens. Or if you're working for a hospital. So, we offer that services to try to help you out and guide you, to make it happen.
And that broadens that partner portfolio we were talking about earlier, where that partnership or that team that you're building for yourself for those closings.
For Tammy and I, we really try to be single source. So if you want to buy a property, you're looking to travel, you need property management, you need some type of service. We maintain a database through Barron, which is called the Beehive. So we have a list of workers. They're all licenses, they're all insured, we track them, we monitor them. We want the same type of integrity that we follow at Barron. And that really gives us a special niche. So if you need a home inspector, like last week we had Calvin on, or an electrician, we could help you. But we could help you to say, let's have fun and do some other things, and we'll talk about that at the second half. But and even if you're looking to come from up north and you don't know the area, that's where we could pull together stuff. We could do virtual showings. There's just so much opportunity.
Ways to do it. So many ways to do it. If you can't get down here, we can certainly videotape and share those things with you. It's really about getting in to a property that makes sense, and the timing is everything. We always talk about timing being everything.
So it'll all fall to place.
Yeah, and speaking of timing, we're going to take a quick break for about 2 minutes. We have a lot more to talk about when we return. We're going to focus on those trends or changes that are going on in travel today as well. Are you looking to buy, sell, or lease your commercial property? Do you want to sell your business? Do you need a property manager? The Jeremiah Barron & Company commercial real estate experts have managed over $1 billion in commercial real estate transactions. Our agents focus on each client's specific needs to deliver results. For more information, visit treasurecoastcommercialrealestate.com. Located in St. Lucie West, Barron Academy is a private school that caters to students with autism and other unique needs. Barron Academy hosts grades K to 8, offering paced lessons and smaller class sizes guided by a passionate team of experienced educators. Curriculums are tailored to each student's abilities, which builds confidence while nurturing learning. For more information, visit exceptionalacademymypsl.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Rebecca from the Bucket List Show with my co-host Tammy. And again, just as a reminder, the show was made for us to, give you good content because we want to serve you so you could live your most abundant life. So we could all have that. So the show is trying to bring a variety of content that's in a good, kind environment and fun. Absolutely. So now we're going to scoot to a couple other things on the travel. So one thing I just want to start in before is,
of course.
I mentioned at the end of the last segment about the fun stuff. So we are home of the Port St. Lucie Mets, and we're excited for that. So I'm a Met fan, and so is my son. But Barron Real Estate has an agreement with Mets for the MLB out of New York, and we actually host the Mets Convention Center on site at Barron Real Estate. So it could be for a chamber gathering, it could be for a wedding, it could be, we always have sports and card show. So if you want to come down or you need information on that, let us know. We are also at every game.
Yes, we're at every game. We are. We, Rebecca and I, are actually going to be at a game. It starts at 1:10. on the 15th of March.
March.
So hopefully you'll come out to see us. We would love to share with you what we have at the table. We've always got some giveaways that we're doing, and we just love to get into the community and have fun with everybody else there too.
And it's a great way. So many people, the snowbirds per se, they come down just to watch spring training. So every game, Barron is the only real estate company. As I said, we have the agreement with them. So we're at the game, so that is fun because we love it. And then obviously we have the Mets Convention Center. Last year when they did, I forgot the name of it. I don't know. It was some sort of recognition for baseball players. They had like Gary Carter's stuff out there and trophies and the rings, and now I can't remember the word. Oh, it's fantasy baseball. It's for people who pay to come down and be a Mets player. Then we have the big banquet, and I'm sneaking in there to take pictures for my son. I'm like Gary Carter and all these other pictures, and I remember those games. So anyway, call us if you need information on the Mets.
She's a fan.
I know, I'm a fan. So back to business. So now if you want to travel here or anywhere, what is new with the travel and everything?
We've had restrictions for a while. There was something going on the last couple of years that kept us from traveling the way that we like to. But being the people that we are fortunate here in the state of Florida to have 5 wonderful ports for cruises. The great thing is most recently, travel has opened up, so vaccinations are no longer required.
Thank goodness.
You're not having to do pre-testing. The cruise lines still have a right to, they can exercise their right to test you on board if they suspect you've got a fever or you look ill, that sort of thing. So those protective factors are still there, and they're still practicing all kinds of sanitation techniques, not just the hand washing, but, wiping down rails in all these public places.
And that's a good thing. It just it was a reminder for all of us
It is.
to stay a little bit cleaner and sanitized.
Absolutely.
And those are good things that came out of it.
And they've done a tremendous job on some of these ships, in fact, most of the ships, in that, they've changed up their air quality and how things are circulated in the cabins, so if you've got some hesitation about, what, those things are, we can help with that. Masking is no longer required, so you can get a tan all over your face, not just part of it. And but some of those requirements have lightened up. The bulk of them have.
Okay, good.
Same thing with traveling internationally. So it's not even just necessarily cruising, but if you're going to fly somewhere to go on an all-inclusive vacation, again, just know that they've got safety protocols in place in the hotels and the airports and the places that you're going to make sure that things are kept sanitary. But at the same time, you have the freedom now. You're not bound and gagged by by a mask.
Now you could enjoy that vacation.
You can, and that doesn't mean.
And rest assured that you're good.
Yeah, and it really it's about choice. So if you choose to wear a mask, you can still do those things. But it's just nice to know that travel has opened up and we can get more people out there to travel.
So
again.
Restrictions are better. So if someone's looking to book a trip, I know I see this all the time. What's the advantage compared to doing something online on yourself?
Oh, that's a great question.
Similar to like...
Well, I'm not saying that you can't find things online, but we pride ourselves at Journey Adventure Travel and Tours in really taking the hassle out of building that vacation. There is so much to choose from. Most people are not aware. At any given time, there are over 270 ships on the ocean.
Wow. That is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of ships on the ocean. That's a lot to choose from. So, how do you know what the right thing is? You can't always rely on the commercials that you're watching because it may not reveal all of the cost that's involved. You've got that 30-second blurb at the bottom that talks about your taxes and port fees and all these other things, but it goes by so quickly, it really doesn't break down what yours is going to cost. So we provide cost transparency for people, and then we approach our clients from a consultative level. And that is, we're going to uncover what it is, what your wants, needs, and desires are, and we're going to find an appropriate brand that makes sense for you. You know, if you're wanting a lot of activities, I mean, there are some lines I wouldn't put you on because they just don't have as many activities on their ships, and one ship might have more than another. You may want an adults only experience, and if that's the case, then we're going to try to find that for you, whether that's within an existing ship that also allows for children or not.
And you know, that's the key. And it's the same thing, you know, if we tie it back into banking and a realtor, you know, you need someone with the experience, to someone who focuses on that and knows that, you know, I wouldn't have even thought of that, 270 ships, and maybe there's less activities compared to A or B.
Right.
But that's a good idea. And the other thing about online, I mean, online with anything, you know, you click a button and you think you got a trip for $199 and then 5 pages in. It doesn't work that way. But I think the personal service, you know, is so key, and we forget that, you know, we do want to talk to people face to face. We want to guide them. And if we have to do a Zoom meeting or call, that's fine. But, you know, we don't want to hide behind a screen. We want to serve people. So
right, and that's that parallel, you know, and you know, we do this from a concierge level, which basically means that we come out to see you, whether it's to visit you in your home, or you want us to come out and see you in your place of business, meet you for a cup of coffee. You know, we like that more personal touch with our client base. It just, you know, makes more sense to us. It's no different than having your investment person come out or have your insurance agent come out to your home.
And, you know, your trip starts with planning. And I don't want to start it with stress. So for me, I would want to use a travel agent because I don't necessarily understand all the ins and outs. Where's like the hot places? Where do people want to go? What's big?
Well, some of the really hot places that have been popular are Hawaii, Alaska, Ireland, Scotland. These are very bucket list oriented. Maybe somebody's trying to visit Dubai for the first time, which is
with the real estate market there,
which is insane, you know. And there's so many different things that you can do, and that just starts with the overall. You know, you can change the experience you have based on the excursions you choose to partake in, and they could be as low level as you need it, very docile and relaxed, or you could be jumping off the tallest building in the world if that's what you want to do. You know,
Not me.
You know, so those are all things that we can help people have those experiences. But the greatest thing that I think we do is we do what I call curing vacation vertigo. And vacation vertigo is that thing that you get when you sit down in front of your computer and you decide you're going to plan.
It's so hard.
And then you open up these carriers, and then they say, well, choose from these 12 options, and then it throws another pop-off to the side, and another pop-up to the side. And next thing you know, you've got all these pop-ups on your screen, and at this point, you're dizzy. You're dizzy, and you're going to go get a drink in the kitchen because you just can't take it anymore. You know, then you come back to it, and you spend more time planning. You know, as agents, we have accesses to things that maybe you don't have access to. Like I can go in and look at multiples at a time, different brands.
Right. And you also have direct access.
Exactly.
And that makes the difference. And then the other problem, at least for me, if I go online and I type something in, then I'm getting all these pop-ups from 15 other people.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you just want to be able to go to a travel agent that, you know, the needs they want, you're going to listen. And then you have the expertise, you know, to pull it all together. So if someone wanted to, you know, plan a cruise to, you know, up in Maine and Canada, you could do that.
Oh, we can. We do Canada, New England.
And it could
if
be,
you want to do Bermuda.
I want to do a trip to Utah, and you could help me plan that.
Yeah, so, we could do rail trips through to Utah. If you want to take a rail trip across the country and then take a cruise from LA or San Diego up the coast and go to Alaska, and then bring yourself down and go to Hawaii and the Southern Pacific.
We got to do our road trip.
There are endless options for you, and you don't have to do it all at the same time.
No,
but what we do is we create that list, that bucket list.
You know, and it's so important because, you know, we joke that, you know, it's not just housing or travel, but it is that, because those are big things. But it could be, you know, how to paddleboard, or you want to write that book, or, you know, you want to learn to swim.
Yes.
You know, it's so important to fulfill, you know, your own personal bucket list, and not just, you know, the business list, but it's also important, you know, to serve and help others too. And that's, you know, that's kind of a part of it.
So we can have those experiences together. So, which brings up a good point. You know, if you are a person who likes to be around other people who like to experience travel as well, you like to visit local restaurants, or just meet other people who have that similar then you can certainly do that via our Facebook page,
absolutely.
which is, you can visit our Facebook page, which is The Bucket List Show, or you can also go and join a page called the Bucket List Gang BLG.
Right.
And the Bucket List Gang BLG is a group of people who have all of those similar interests, and they're from all over the Treasure Coast and beyond.
Yep.
And this way, you have a way or a forum or a medium where you can share something that you might be looking at. Maybe somebody else has that same interest, and we can pull something together. So we're helping to form groups within that space based on the likes and of the people within that group.
And the bucket list gang, especially if there's 1,000 people coming to Florida every day, Treasure Coast has boomed. I mean,
absolutely.
I'll have to get the numbers, but in the last 4 years, I mean, it's crazy how much Port St. Lucie and the counties. But all these new people want to meet other people.
That's right.
So the idea that Tammy and Steve did the bucket list gang is so everyone can meet each other. You go to a different restaurant, and it's fun, and then it could tie in all other things. So
well, and we've even listed, periodically go on and I put local resources, so that way for people who are on that page that maybe just hopped in because they built a home in the tradition area and they're brand new to those pages. I've listed some local resources, whether they're food tours or going to a winery. We have a local winery here.
We have so many theaters here for
that's
plays.
Right, absolutely. So those resources will be shared on that page. And for those of you who are members of that page already, I would encourage you to share those things as well. That's the whole point of having that page out there, is to be able to encourage and expand those experiences for our neighbors, get to know each other.
And it's nice to go to a restaurant with a bunch of people and meet new people. And the idea is another thing, we just want you to have a good life, an abundant life.
Right.
Whatever that looks like. It could be just be walking the beach, or you're doing that paddle boarding with those alligators and everything else, all those creatures.
Yeah, so make sure if you are interested in these things, you have questions, whether it's in regards to real estate, by myself or Rebecca, or it has anything to do with travel, I can certainly help on that end, and my business partner Teresa can as well. So for Journey Adventure Travel and Tours, you can certainly reach out to us at 772-882-3165, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you have in regards to the real estate.
If you need any assistance on real estate or property management or ideas for the bucket list, or would like to be on the bucket list show, you can contact me at 203-482-7297.
Fantastic.
Be kind, everybody.
Same here. Thanks for joining us.